Well, first of all, it's heartbreaking, and when you see things like this, when it comes to children, it's always extra scary. And the similarities immediately ring to me, where a parent should be able to show you their child within a couple of seconds or know where they are at all times. The fearful thing is seeing them for a short amount of time and then them disappearing, and all the families wondering, just the similarities are scary. I will personally tell you that I hope that that is not the case. I never want to see what happened to my family repeated, but it's hard to hear it because there's, for me personally, just too many similarities.
Do you have a gut instinct on what's happening in the Melodee Buzzard story?
I'll tell you that as a parent myself, I could tell you where my kids are 24/7, no matter what's going on. I know where they are at all times, even if they're at school, and it should be very easy to be able to tell anybody where your children are. So I don't have a gut feeling, but I do feel uneasy about it.
Yeah, I've had a bad feeling since day one. I thought there's just no way that a mom wouldn't just put people at ease over something as important as a little girl. Here's where I'm confused. It doesn't feel, to me at least, that it's being considered an emergency by the police. And I'm wondering if you got that feeling when you and Kay Woodcock were trying desperately to get the police to pay attention to Lori Vallow, your mom, and find out where your siblings were.
Yeah, I think the police, it was hard for our case because you get so many new departments involved, right? It's Arizona, it's Idaho, it's all over the place. And then they're looking for Lori and Chad. So yeah, there is urgency. You need to have urgency for a child like this, but I understand that in some circumstances, the police hand could be tied in some ways. But when it comes to children, I think the priority goes to a very high level, and it has to, because their safety is important. And the police are sometimes they're just tied and they can't do something about it.
So, you know what, that is a really good point. And I want you to just pull on that thread a little for me, because you've mentioned in the past that when kids are taken out of the system, like this little girl was taken out of the school system and they were homeschooling. Now, the school system did its level best, right? They didn't come and pick up assignments for a few weeks and they reported it. But it really complicates the process when the child isn't doing what every other child is doing.
Right, exactly. And, especially if a parent takes their kid out of school or moves or whatever the case is, when they go somewhere else, you don't know, the teachers aren't going to know who they are. They're not going to know that they're missing from another place, right? So it's complicated, but now that everyone's looking and trying to figure out what's going on with her, it just makes it even more confusing, because it really ultimately comes down to where is she and why is the mom not speaking on it? Like, why would that be a hard thing to produce your child?
Were you surprised at all that, I mean, for me, I just don't understand why they haven't broken down the door. I always feel as though if there's a child missing, worried relatives, and an intransigent mother who has been caught in the past in a circumstance where her home was so derelict and the food was rotting and the grandmother thought the rotting food was being served to the child, there's a background, there's a history. Why aren't they breaking down the door, considering this to be an exigent circumstance? Are you feeling the same way?
What I'll tell you is, I mean, obviously the human in you agrees 100%. You have to also just look at, I think, what is the legality of all. I don't know that answer. In my case, we already were told that they were missing, and then it's just this wide search of so many people getting involved, and that's when you're holding out hope, and you're always, as a family member, going to hold out hope that it's not the worst case scenario. But we have our own version of justice versus what justice looks like in the actual justice system, and I think it can be different for us as the public versus what they have to do to get to those answers.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.